Hey guys, welcome to the Commando Cast. I am Mike.
And I'm Andrew, and today we have a ton to talk about, so it's going to be a little longer than normal, but Mike and I are finally back in the saddle again. Hey guys, and welcome back to episode 38 of the Commando Cast. So you may be wondering why in the heck Mike and I are sporting our Canada shirts 2 weeks after Canada Day. And the reason is because we are truly honored to have been given a great gift. So I got back from vacation about a week ago at this point, and on my doorstop was this little baby that I'm showing on the screen right now, obviously with all the important information redacted.
Right.
But so our friends in Montreal have sent us a huge care package, and by huge care package, I literally mean huge, and I want to give them a shout out because just the shipping of this thing alone probably cost them $50. Right. So
yeah. Canada Post is not cheap. I don't know.
Right.
If you, yeah.
Like I mean, well, and it's in US dollars and all that. Right. Or Canada
right.
dollars and all that. Right. But that aside, plus Steve, who sent this, like, you must be the best Tetris player in the world because I unpacked the box and tried to repack it and I couldn't do it. So I don't know how you managed to get it all together just in the right way, but props to you. So what the gentleman had done is, first off, they sent us a great letter, which I'll show up right now as I'm talking. So our friends from Montreal basically sent us a care package of stuff that is designed to help get new players in the game.
That's super appreciated. That's for sure.
And it wasn't just them throwing us their garbage cards and their spare rares and stuff like that. On top of that, Steve went out and bought sleeves. He went out and bought deck boxes and sent storage options for us as well. So I have not yet had the opportunity to go through all these cards because there's a ton of them.
Oh my gosh.
In going through just the dice cards that I have, there are at least 5 or 6 obvious new player decks that I can make. So I'm probably gonna buy myself a 6-pack and commit a Saturday night and sit down and bust out some decks. But we are very excited to get through this. So I know I was really honored about this. I kind of knew it was coming. Mike didn't, and I showed him the letter.
Yeah, it's interesting. We do this to probably a fairly small audience. Right. I mean, if we're honest with ourselves,
200 to 300 people.
Yeah. And we do this because we enjoy talking about it. We like drinking beer. We like hanging out together. But to actually read it, to have someone that was that truly, I guess, gets something, and not just how to play the game better, but gets some enjoyment and some relaxation out of it. That really kind of made my day. I actually shared it with my wife, who likes to laugh at my internet fame. But this was, she got to show this for her, and she truly thought that was neat, and she was very, excited for us. So thank you, Steve, and the guys from Montreal.
Yeah, so just want to do a quick shout out. So Oliver, Steve, Jamie, Stam, and Simon, legit, Dice Commando thanks you. What I really thought was great about this, more than just the outpouring of the cards and stuff, is these guys are really buying into the channel philosophy of growing the community, right? And they sent us this stuff not just to get rid of their stuff, but they sent us sleeves and deck boxes to let us sleeve up the decks and give them to new people and run events, and we're very excited to do that. So thank you, gentlemen. Go Commando.
Thanks, guys.
All right, next, so this last weekend, a couple days ago, we did the first year anniversary tournament for the Dice Commando channel.
Yes.
So in short, what we had done, or what I had done, is I had put some Easter eggs in videos. The idea was the tournament was completely free to our viewers, so I had wanted to make sure that it was actually going to viewers and not just people who like free stuff. Right, so I had hidden the videos I had hidden kind of the information to sign up for it in existing gameplay videos. So those who watch the videos every day or frequently had seen those and had an opportunity to register. So we had 22 people show up at Gongai on Saturday. We gave everybody 8 packs of Awakenings, and they had to use the Rivals kit. Yeah. And the idea was to use the old Infinite Holocron, the new Infinite Holocron on the old stuff.
Yes.
So we basically, because we had never really drafted Awakenings to begin with, so we were really playing something I think hadn't happened before, and it was the reason I chose the Rivals kit was so that we wouldn't have to worry about character subtypes, because that would have been a disaster.
Correct.
So that I think, I don't know, I had a lot of fun. I had tears in my eyes, not really, but like I had a lot of nostalgia, like opening up the old packs and being like, oh man, remember how hard it was to get a Jedi robes back in the day?
Right. I've traded like 2 blasters for that. Yeah, no. I thought it was interesting. We had some players who joined us who had never even played with Awakenings before, mainly because they weren't in the game, but a lot of them they didn't get the game because of the supply problem.
I would wager about half the crowd hadn't played in Awakenings, right?
And that was cool. Like, I mean, and it was some good players who just weren't playing.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's especially in our area, we had a lot of players and like joining like the Empire at War Legacies type area. Right. Because, especially if you were joining an Empire at War and you're like, oh, well, the new block's coming. I'm probably not going to buy much of the black boxes, right? So, yeah, it was. I don't know. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was neat. I think Mike didn't have a lot of fun. But
let's put it this way: I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoyed the seeing the cards and playing the cards. There's sometimes when you get sealed packs and they work really well together, and there's some that you don't, and it was fine. I had a good time. I mean, I thank you for putting it together.
So your team didn't work out. You got like Jabba, right?
I mean, I went 2-2. Yeah, I got elite. I got one, not elite Jabba. I got legendary Jabba from that, and it was cool. I mean, it was
hard to because isn't he 11 points?
Yes.
Yeah, that's hard to pair a guy with no damage. So.
Yeah. But I ended up getting 3 characters out of my 8 packs, and they just added up to 30 points, and I got very few damage dealing upgrades, so just kind of how it worked out. But
yeah, it was just kind of funny to see the decks people put together, right? Because like Django there was at least 4 Djangos flying around because he's 11 points, right? And Django at 11 points is really good.
Yeah.
Leo is also Amy got, I can't believe what she opened. She got Django at 11, Leia at 11, and then a Night Sister. So she had 3 characters add up to 30
Guns.
Rainbow out of her packs, and she got a holdout blaster. And then I think she got some other stuff too, but like those 4 alone, like just stop opening packs. You don't need anything else at that point, right? So I thought she was going to run the tournament. She destroyed me in round 3, but I watched her play Enzo in the last round, and like I've never seen somebody roll so many blanks in my life. But that's destiny. But
so who ended up winning? That was I didn't get to catch.
I ended up winning.
Oh, that's right.
Which I feel bad about, but. It is what it is.
What are you going to do?
No, so Zaylan, actually, he's relatively new. He got 2nd place overall. He was playing Han Solo and Ketsu, and I don't remember. Well, you have to check it out online. But Han Solo, I didn't think was going to be very good. So he did get a point reduction as well. I didn't think he was going to be that good because his health was never high.
He was 18 elite back in the old days.
He was 14, 18.
Okay,
so I think he's maybe 12 or something. I don't know. Well, we'd have to look it up, but he always had low health because the idea was when you play an ambush card, you give him a shield, right? And I think that when they designed that, they thought that was going to be really good, and I didn't think that was going to be very valuable in draft, and he ended up doing pretty well being able to put shields on there, so that was pretty neat. And I got Dooku, and
Dooku's real good
in draft or sealed.
It's already hard enough to get any damage on those dice, and then when you can block them.
Right. I mean, and then even doing tricks like with the Verpine, right? Because the way it works is the ruling on Dooku is so the way Dooku works, for those of you who are not familiar, I'm showing him up here, but when you deal damage to him, you can discard a card from your hand to give a shield. Well, even though he takes unblockable, you can still discard that card to give him a shield before he takes the damage. So it was actually one time I took unblockable damage from the Verpine, and then I used it to repost to kill somebody.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Yeah. So Dooku was the big winner. Right. Somebody else had Dooku. Well, I think it was Symbio. And Symbio ended up getting 1st overall in Swiss.
Right.
And he had Dooku as well. So
someone had one with a Force.
Yeah, Symbio had one. So he had Dooku and one with the Force.
Oh my gosh.
And Jeff had one with the Force. Yeah. The 3 focus in the.
Yeah, I was shocked how good that was. I suppose it makes a lot of sense though, right? Because it's it's off from your 3 character set, and it has 3 focus. So you're just if your opponent doesn't have the trash removal in the set, then
I'm a little surprised. But I mean, because it comes in as an overgrade, you can upgrade and you can override. I guess it makes it easier to get in. But I mean, money was really hard to make back in the day, and money's hard enough and limited as it is. So I didn't think we were going to see, like, somebody pulled a Falcon and like,
I know, right? Like,
that's great, but you're probably not going to get that out.
You spend all 3 rounds just saving your money so you can play it,
right?
Yeah.
So Anyway, I don't need to go too much into that. The coverage is going on all this week on the channel, so please check out those videos. But thank you to everyone who came. I had a great time. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And
so is this going to be are we planning on doing this as a regular thing?
So we will see. I've actually had some amount of negative backlash of it, of people who were upset that they didn't get to go. We had 8 slots left. It's just that people didn't know about it until the videos start getting posted, but now people are kind of crabby about it. So it's one of those things where you try to do something nice and, but
well, hopefully I
was able to do something nice for the people who were, and if you didn't, well,
and awareness will be up for it next time, and maybe we'll be able to get more people in there. And I don't know, you mentioned a lot, I think, in the videos, but I do want to shout out to Gongai for hosting and providing good stuff.
Gongai not only gave us, I approached them with the idea of doing something, and they had gotten a cheap shipment of Awakening, so it just kind of developed. Between the two of us talking, but he canceled his normal Saturday tournament, did this instead, so he made no income that day. Because he wasn't doing a tournament, right? So he made no income that day. He did normal snacks and stuff, and then he surprised all of us. I didn't even know he was going to do this. I showed up that day, and he's like, "What time do you want lunch today?" And I was like, "I don't know. What are you talking about?" So between rounds 1 and 2,
we had hot dogs and pizza, and it was good stuff too. Not cheap little hot dogs, like so serious.
It was like the Costco foot long. Yeah. So they did a great job. He also cares about building the community, so big shout out to him.
Yeah.
So
thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, so enough with that. Let's move on to today's discussion. So this is our first one we've had since the new set's been released.
Right.
How do we feel?
So we did the first week, like while you were gone, we did a lot of drafting, right? So that was kind of this, like everyone was just kind of getting used to the cards. And I am very excited with the new cards. I've been excited playing Kylo and Rey together, which I have my own issues, but that is of the Last Jedi, that portion of that movie is the one redeeming portion of the whole thing. So I really kind of have a soft spot for the characters and how they built them up in the Force Awakens. So to see them come together and actually to be able to build a competitive deck with them has been really cool. And that's just like I put two real decks together for play, and that was one of them. And I've really enjoyed it, And I think the game with those kind of pre-built synergies is half the game is in a really good state. And I mean the Kylo Rey portion, where it's a kind of a beginner friendly. They're rares. The cards you can make that deck for relatively low amounts of money with mostly new cards. Like you could do really. It's
probably a $20 deck.
Maybe, yeah, but I would say 20 is probably very right on. So
assuming you're not throwing Neiman and stuff.
Yeah. And even then, like if you open a few packs, you have good chances of getting something, a Yoda's lightsaber or a Neiman. So anyway, that portion has been really good. And then the other synergy they threw at us, which I'm not as happy with, is the droid synergy because of the legendary status and also how they're so strong, like right out of the bat, like without having to have much tweaking done. It feels like something shouldn't be that strong so early. And I don't know if that's a symptom of us as players.
Well, but it's not early though, right? Because like as soon as a card is spoiled, people are playing with it on TTS. Like the droids have been being played with for 2 months.
That's true,
right? So
kind of don't like that.
I'd be honest.
I like playing on TTS, but I don't like that portion.
Yeah. So let's put a slight pin in that and diverge slightly, right?
Okay.
So the droids you talked about being strong. Everybody knew they were going to be strong. Everyone was super worried about them.
Right.
So then we had the changes that were released, right? So just to summarize, in short, the big change that was made was the introduction of a restricted list. So the way the restricted list works is any card that is on the restricted list, you can still play any number of copies of those in your deck. However, that card cannot be played with any other card on the restricted list. What do you think about that new tool that we now have?
I liked it. I thought it was elegant for right now. I think it will become cumbersome if they add too many cards to it. So I hope maybe they have like bands. Maybe they could just create like band A, band B.
Have you seen that in other games? Because you've played FFG games before, right? with Netrunner, right?
Yeah, Netrunner, though, uses a little bit different deck building technique, but it basically restricts more. Like, they have two ways to do it. A restricted, you can only have one copy in your deck of 60, which is, if you think about that, 60-card deck, one copy, that's really hard to get to. But the games go a little bit longer, and there's a lot of draw mechanics. I guess it kind of makes sense. And they would, if what the equivalent in Destiny would be to Netrunner would be, is if they included a card, if you included one copy of a card in your deck, if it took off your total of 30 build points. Mm-hmm. So that's how they do it in Netrunner. Like, if there's a card that's on the most wanted list, it subtracts from your ability to splash other factions.
I see. Yeah, I don't. My concern about the restricted list, like, I think it's fundamentally a good tool, but my concern about it is, like you mentioned, as things get longer, like, so you cannot play any card on the restricted list with any other card on the restricted list, right? So the way it works now is we have 4 cards because there are 2 combos, right? Mm-hmm. We have Rebel Trader and
Order 66,
and Order 66,
right.
The plot. So
that's right.
The Trader and the plot cannot be played together, right. And our C-3PO and the military camp cannot be played together. But my problem with that is that means you can't run the Rebel Trader with military camp.
Right, which is weird.
Which is weird because the 2 combos don't interact.
Yeah.
Right? So that inherently I don't quite get. I mean, functionally it's not a big deal.
Yeah, right now it's not a big deal.
Today.
Right.
Right? And that's kind of my issue. And then the other portion of it is that R2 can still use military camp if your opponent brings it.
Right.
And I kind of don't get that. So if I was Jeremy, I would have made a very simple change to military camp. I would have said, spot 2 non-droid characters that share a subtype. Problem solved. It doesn't solve the Rebel Trader issue, but...
Yeah, I think they were trying to get away from changing text on cards. I feel like they really hate that.
We've never done that before.
I know. I just it is weird though. Of course, the same thing can happen to a new player, right? Who shows up with his R2. He net decked an old list from a month ago, brings his R2 and his military camp, and then we have to figure out a way to
here's a break it. Like
so break it to him that he can't use the deck he put together. So I think it's pretty well done. I just feel like later on they're gonna, like you said, like, why can't... It makes no sense not to be able to play Rebel Trader in military camp.
Right.
I mean, and then what if they add 2 more cards to it?
Right. That's what I'm saying is, like, can you imagine, like, let's say the game makes it under 3 years, like the infinite banned or the infinite restricted list is presumably going to be like 50 cards long.
Right.
Because don't they already have retreat and hyperspace jump on there actually too for infinite?
Infinite, right? Yeah.
Right. And mean streets and like the number of the more cards you put on there exponentially increases the number of cards that can't be played with each other and from a combination standpoint. So functionally, maybe it's not a problem now, but I just don't know about that as a long-term solution.
I wonder if I don't know if it had been as cute as a restricted list, but just have a rules around it that said you cannot play this battlefield with this character and be done with it. Like, rather than, I mean, the list is cool as long as it, like you said, as long as they're able to not make it so long that it becomes oppressive to deck building,
right?
For no reason, like.
Yeah, I mean, but then it's got to be an errata at the deck building section because again, it doesn't solve the problem if like your opponent shows up with military camp, right? It's like.
Yeah, that would feel really bad. Like, knowing, because there are decks right now that do military camp really well. Like, Red Hero uses military camp for troopers. Love military camp.
I mean,
right?
the Iden Beckett deck uses it.
Yeah, so now I feel like if you're in a competitive setting, knowing that the field is maybe going to be 20% droids, like you cannot bring military camp because they're going to blow you out on the roll off with
especially
5 dice.
Phasma Trooper. Right?
Yeah, so they're gonna take your battlefield. Right, they're gonna let you. They're gonna take some shields, play the first round, and then
it's a double win for them.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, so that's and I guess that's another challenge in the game, though. And I think military camp is too strong in general at times.
Military camp probably should have just been written for troopers, like instead of spot 2 characters, share a subtype and reroll a trooper. Probably should have just been written for troopers.
All the decks that blow me out with it are trooper decks.
Well, because droids can't run it. Right. Otherwise, droids would be rolled. But I don't know. Anyway, but like I think it's kind of weird to be able to activate Iden and Beckett together and reroll her die. Like I think that's kind of
that doesn't make a lot of sense because they're
I mean, it is what it is, and it's fine. Sure. Anyway, so we kind of touched on that.
Yeah, sorry.
I think we put that back to bed. So,
okay.
One observation I had, because I had the unique situation of being on vacation on release weekend, so I was basically, whenever I'd get back to the hotel and I had internet access, I was logging in for my daily addiction, right? And I saw an extreme lack on the Worldwide Destiny page of people posting their polls. I saw virtually none of it. Which in all the other sets, we've had a problem depending on your side of it, right? Depending on whether you like it or you don't. But,
right.
you know, there's the two fine gentlemen, the one from San Diego and the one from the East Coast, who have deemed themselves the policemen of the don't post your polls.
Right.
I didn't see their names popping up yelling at people, right? So so that in itself is not a problem. Like, that's fine. The page is not meant to have polls, right? But the fact that we didn't see them, right? Because it's always the new people who have joined since the last set who are posting their polls and then they get yelled at.
Okay.
The fact that we didn't see this, I'm wondering if we just don't have that many new people who have joined since the last set. What do you think about that? Does my logic hold, I guess?
Yeah, no, it could. I mean, I guess it could mean that. It also could mean that we're just a better disciplined group that have read the rules and don't post our polls.
But so now we're a better disciplined group in this last 2 months than we were the expansion before, right? Because the expansion before, there was people posting their polls and be like, "Don't post your polls, bah," right?
Well, again, though, they released this over a holiday weekend, so people weren't they weren't as like it wasn't.
But it's a holiday weekend here, and it's a worldwide page.
Yeah, but I would say the majority. Like, and we all know Europeans are more disciplined than we are. I mean, so they're not gonna be posting, you know, stuff that they don't have to. I mean, I certainly, yes, could it be? Yeah, I don't necessarily think it points to. The causality. The correlation does not equal causality.
I just thought it was interesting that I saw very little of the check out my horrible box or check out my amazing box versus what we've had in the past, and I wonder what that really means.
Yeah, I will say from a retailer standpoint, that the sale of singles has probably been a little bit down from the last set, but the last set had like Vader, I mean, in it, and Han, and I mean there was some serious legendaries.
That was 2 sets ago.
Oh yeah, that's Across the Galaxy, right? Yeah. I just feel like that this one, the legendaries in this particular set, I don't think were as strong. So the need to go get has been as high. Now the competitive players are going to get 2 R2s, are going to get 2 C3POs on there. So I would. It feels, as far as retailing, it feels a little bit down, but not so down I'm like canceling all my orders for the next set,
right,
or anything,
right.
And we've seen we've seen some new people in the last 6 months join the game.
No, I mean, I get that locally. I'm talking on a grand scale. I mean, the Portland area is not making FFG continue to remain.
Correct. Right.
So, I don't know. It was just a thought.
That is interesting, though. Yeah, no, I'd love to know what you guys think about that. Like, if you've noticed that, or if you have any thoughts, you know, maybe throw some of your thoughts on that on the comments, and maybe we can review them.
I mean, so I do have another theory on that, in that I think, like, I'll use myself, for example, right? Amy and I were not as excited about this set as we've been in other sets, so we limited ourselves to, I mean, we usually buy 2 boxes and then spread it out anyway, but we were actually considering only buying 1 box and then allocating that money towards singles, because we just didn't want a bunch of stuff that we didn't feel we were going to use. So I'm wondering if that actually wasn't the case here, where people actually bought less packs, because the set seems very binary, right? Like, what's good in this set is good, and what's bad in this set is really just not good. So I'm wondering if that's the case, where more people were just like, I'm just not going to do packs, I'm going to do a saga set, whatever, right? So, of course, saga set doesn't really solve that problem, but you're getting everything. But
yeah, no, I would say that's a legit concern. I know a lot of our players that have bought saga sets bought them again. Like, we didn't have like a reduction, and again, we don't sell like hundreds of them or anything. We're not, you know, some of our friends that do that.
So, by the way, is a saga set trademark? Is that like a trademark?
I don't think it is.
If it is, that's not what Mike sold.
No, I'm not selling that at all. But yeah, so I would say your point to I'm going to buy less and buy more singles. I feel like that might be
the case here.
Our game is getting older, right? We are going to get to a point where there's going to be fewer people joining than there are, dropping off. That's just kind of the natural way games go, unless you're Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon. So, I mean, the people that have been here a long time know the wisdom of I'm going to buy a box or two and then fill the rest with singles. Like that is a really wise choice.
Well, I mean, the player base is certainly getting older or / more experienced. I mean, just on an average point, like I was talking about this with somebody else. Actually, we were talking about Andy and the guys who come up for Monday Night Dice, right? And Andy, I think, still considers himself to be a new player. And I'm like, dude, bro, you've been playing for 2 expansions. Like, you're not what I would consider to be a new player anymore, right? So, when do you graduate or whatever?
Yeah, he'll wreck your face with a defoliator tank too.
Yeah,
like if you're not watching it, he'll kill you with that.
No, I don't even mean from a play standpoint.
Right.
Like Andy's super dangerous with those damn droids. But like if you asked him, I think he'd still consider himself to be a new player. And I'm like, at this point, you're not, right? You're newer than others, but
sure.
So and anyway, I got off topic or I diverged a bit, but it's kind of the same thing, right? It's like the player base itself is like, oh well, I made that mistake last time, and I've got a whole bunch of Way of the Force stuff that's just sitting in a box because I didn't buy enough Legacy, so I overbought Way of the Force, and then I underbought Across the Galaxy.
Yeah, you know what my big problem has been as my own personal collection is freaking Across the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Like, holy smokes. Like, every set has been on Wicked sale somewhere where I could, I get some and, open some and sell some. That one, though, has retained its value. Like, I don't get it.
Well, that's why you're in trouble, is because of your affiliation with the store, because it's retained its value. You have to sell it instead of having it.
Yes. Correct. But that one, I would love...
That set is not going to retain its value anymore.
When those boxes go on sale on Amazon, there are times when I go buy a couple myself. Because I don't know who Amazon's distributor is, but they're better than mine.
Yeah. So, all right. Anyway, going back. So you were talking about your Raylo. So that's what I was going to ask you is, 2 questions. So how did Monday Night Dice go?
Okay.
So Monday Night Dice was last night.
Yes.
That was our area's first real slugfest, right?
Yeah, I think so. They had one in Portland on Friday, Friday night, but I didn't get a lot of details.
I'm super jealous. I want to go over there so bad.
The drive time was 2 hours.
It was bad enough going to Bunsen. It's actually about the same to go there as it is to go all the way out to Sandy's.
Oh my gosh, that's so terrible.
But yeah, they're definitely running it at Caldera Brewing, and I'm very jealous.
Yeah, I've heard that place is pretty cool. Anyway, all right. So Monday was our first, our first constructed, and our theme was we invited everyone to bring at least two characters from Spark of Hope. So that we kind of challenge, and that's not really a challenge, but that's just, that's what we want.
It actually is at this point. Like, you're 5 sets into the block, bringing 2, especially if you're running a 2 pairing,
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yes.
Right.
And everybody, with the exception of a couple who just don't have quite the same cards and stuff, did it. So we were pretty happy with that. Somebody brought droids and Anakin.
So Elite R2, Elite C-3PO, and little Annie with Faithful Companions.
Correct. And brought 6 activation sheet cards.
Droids stay out.
Droids out, seize the day, and instigate.
Okay.
2 copies of each. So this allowed them to simulate having military camp.
And I assume then they had battlefield control for most of it.
Correct. They also, which I thought was a very spicy edition. I don't know if I like the 2 copies of it, but they were running 2 copies of Gromtine. Because the deck
takes the battlefield.
Right. Okay. The deck makes tons of money. They just play, because there's a lot of stuff going on. The opponent, if they claim, they activate Gromtine, take it back, resolve the deck.
Because late game, if you want battlefield control with that deck, late game, you do need some way to take it back because you're supporting out.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
That's actually a spicy include.
Yeah, and I looked at a lot of deck lists for it, and that particular edition, I thought I had not seen that in other deck lists, so I thought that was kind of fresh. Again, I don't know if I'd run 2 copies, but maybe if it was a very important. And I want to say I did not play against this deck because I lost round 1. The stupid Yoda Admiral. I had him on 1 health, and then he went off on Yoda Admiral. So, but I won my next 2. But because I lost the first one, I did not get a chance to play against the droid deck, and and I mean this, he played 3 games against 3 very good regular players who generally almost keep their wits about them, and it tilted every one of them to the point where I thought, like, someone's gonna just
so by tilt, because usually the expression tilt is used to mean that, like, you throw someone off their game and they start making stupid decisions.
This was like a full-on like emotional reaction.
Okay, so this was like, let's go to the parking lot type tilting.
Well, not quite that bad, but yes, it was a very emotional response.
I see.
And my first reaction to it was one of, like, well, what can I do to like, what have I done as an organizer to cause this, and what can I do to correct it? But I will say this: somebody brought a tier 0 deck to our very first constructed night, where people were trying different things. 2 separate players brought 3 wide Django. Which is, again, they're just
like Django Trooper.
Yeah, it was
back in the day.
Yeah, like just weird stuff. One of them played Alice of Necessity with Django and Watt, and I mean, there was just some interesting stuff going on. So, that kind of deck is going to thrive, and destroy people when people are kind of trying to figure out what's going on. Sure. And like you mentioned, and I don't necessarily like this, but it's a new pairing. Sort of. I mean, it's been out for 2 weeks now in like live play, but people have been playing it for a month and a half.
No, the decks are well developed, but I think right now, especially because we're headed into the uber competitive season, like Gen Con's only a couple weeks away. Right. There's going to be a huge disparity between the developed decks and what's on SWDB, right? People aren't going to be putting up their playtesting deck list, right? So you had made the comments like, well, I haven't seen Ground Battalion in a lot of decks. Well, there may be a ton of decks out there that, like, he may have run up against somebody on TTS playing it, and that's what triggered it. Or he came up with his own, I'm not saying.
Well, that's how I'd say 90% of my good ideas are, I'm running a deck against someone who's playing a completely different deck, and they play a card, and I'm like, that's freaking brilliant. How can I use that into what I'm doing?
Yeah, fair enough.
So it was really hard to see my friends, who are also my players, kind of deal with that emotional reaction, but at the same time, it was very good deck building, and the people that played the other decks had a good time. Raylo is very sneaky and good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the general consensus is that Raylo's better than I think everybody thought. Like, I think everyone's like, oh, it looks like it's going to be super fun, probably not great. Like, I think it's probably I don't know, it's great, but like,
I played 3 games.
I think it's pretty good.
In 2 of the games, I killed a character round 1. With Ray and Kylo, 2 games. The first game I played,
not like an Ewok, right?
No, okay. Full on. One was a Watt for 9 points. I killed a 9-point Watt round 1.
Crossguard into it, or something.
2 crossguards. Yeah, I pulled money, crossguards, specials, and and then the game that I lost that was to the Yoda deck. I had Yoda to 9 health at the end of round 1 through his shield. Or no, I had him at 8 damage through his shields round 1, and then I had him at 11 health at the end of round 2, ready to kill, and he played a really sneaky hidden motive where he played it on my R2 die. Like, I had Legacy's R2, and he hit it like it was on 1 damage, and I mean,
that's the R2 support.
Yeah, R2 support. So it was a really close game, but that deck will hit. It's funny. It plays like a little bit aggro, but it's really a mid deck. I mean, the way I play mine is I kind of load up.
So by round 2, he had enough on there to matter on the Ryota reset.
Oh yeah. So it ramped. I will say this: he took a lot of money early on. Like, he was taking a lot, not doing much damage. I think maybe he did 5 damage. And
so did he reset Yoda when he played Admiral? Like, did he pay 6 for? I mean, or overwrite for the net 6?
So he had a 3-cost upgrade, and he overwrote with Bale for free.
Okay,
and he had 2 already, so he paid it. And then, so stood him back up. Next round, played it, hit the special, stood him up, and then overwrote Admiral with another Admiral.
Oh.
Yeah, it had the 2 anyway from the round start, and it was, like, pretty bad. Like, it was, even with, he only had, like, 1 damage dealing, but Bale has 2 focus, so I was trying to control it, and it was lights out. Like I said, I was 1 damage away from
that's kind of neat.
It was cool. Like, I like it. It was good. You know, I was. It was good.
No, I hear what you're saying, right? Especially on the first, right? I mean, it's not to say that you're like the first week everyone is excited to play with their toys, and like to the people who are uber competitive and want to smash people, right? The toys is playing the competitive deck, so they want to bring that. But meanwhile, everyone else is like, this looks fun. I want to play this, right? So that's
we're playing with our Tonka toys, and someone brought like a Mustang and just ran it over our faces. Yeah. But it was that deck is freaking good.
The R2 deck.
The R2 deck.
Or the Droid deck.
Now, I feel like it's got 2 characters at 8 points and 1 at 7. Like, any aggro deck is going to kill a character round 1. Because if they're spending their money on removal, they're not spending it on
no, but
doing
they
any damage.
They don't have money. That's the point.
I can do, like... I can do damage without money.
I'm a little surprised. I haven't had an opportunity to play it against it.
I think I brought the only even close to aggro deck was me, and my deck's not. I mean, it's a mid deck.
I mean, my Phasma Troopers have its own problems, but like my Phasma Troopers would eat that a lot.
Oh my gosh, you would kill someone round 1. Like you would just, what did I roll? Okay, I'll only 7. I'll kill Anakin.
Right.
Like only 8. I'll kill. C-3PO.
And I didn't even care in that deck if you take my money. But like I said, that's just one deck though, right? And so. Anyway, all right. So next question is, what are you? You already talked about Rayo, but what are you running? What are your other decks? So Mike and I, after we get done shooting, we're actually gonna be doing some play and chat.
Yeah, roll chat, baby.
So we'll get those up. So what are you running in that?
So my in that I'm gonna be running.
Or what are you running in general?
Yeah. So my pet deck right now, the one I've been playing the most on Tabletop Simulator has been. Because I've been running into a buttload of Ewoks, is I've been rolling a Ventress and a single die IG-88.
Okay.
So it's 3 die, all bounty hunters, and then I'm running the 6 suite, but I'm running...
and by 6 suite, he means Death Mark.
Yeah, sorry. Wanted.
The Death Mark, Wanted,
Dead
and
or
then Dead or Alive.
Right, and then 1 copy of Bounty Board, which is super good when you don't... when you need to kill everybody in the room and you need that 1 bounty to do it, you can go for it. It also really is excellent at dirtling at the end of the game. Like when I need to take an action, don't want to pass, I can search and pull one. Mm-hmm. It's good for a discard to reroll, if I need it up. So it's that deck's been fun. It's 24 health. I mean, it's 2 characters but 24 health, so it actually has more health than... Does it have more health than the droids?
887.
Yeah,
1 more health.
Yeah, 1 health. So so it does well against the indirect decks. It can do well against the indirect decks. I'd say if it has kind of a weakness right now is that villain blue and yellow villain have no way to deal with healing in that deck. Like I guess I could build it for like witch magic, but that would be weird, right? I mean,
that'd be hard with your bounties because you need the free bounties,
right. So I'm not sure what the answer is as far as getting more like, because it's an aggro deck, but it doesn't normally spike someone off the table round 1 because the character dice are so big. Your opponent has to remove.
Well, but it's a control-y type deck, right? So I'm actually right now I'm going to put up a text that Mike sent me like right before I went on vacation. We were talking about this deck and just the removal of doing AOE damage with Ventress. Yeah. At least the way that we read it. If you deal damage to multiple characters with Ventress, you can discard multiple cards, right? So
because I'm dealing, so it's basically just discard. I could remove up to 3 character dice or 4. Yeah, it depends what I'm rocking.
Good luck with that. But.
Yeah, and it's been successful. I've probably won maybe about 65-70% of my games, which for me is enough to at least keep working on a deck. Like if I really care about winning it. IG is interesting out playing at the 1 die because your opponent really doesn't know what to do. Like because if they kill IG-88, which who gives you the ability to do AOE damage, Ventress sits there with 2 dice and she's got good sides, and I put the upgrades on her. She can hold all the bounty hunter upgrades, that I can, like the gauntlet rockets and the pulse cannon, and obviously pulse cannon's fantastic.
Well, that's not bounty hunter upgrade though.
You're right, but I mean it is kind of goes in that set, and I did experiment with a little bit of, I put in 1 copy of Way of the Force.
Okay.
I think
to get IG-88.
Yeah, IG-88's got a really good die. I think it's worth a 3 cost.
So you're playing Vibro Cutlass then for the overwrite redeploy, or what? Or are you counting on them going for Ventress first?
I just don't play it. Like if they go for that, I just don't play it. Like, actually, my latest version of that deck, I don't play Way of the Force.
Okay.
Actually, the card that I've had the most success with on this and is the stupid Dark Council. Like
Dark Council.
Right.
Symbio reopened. I mean, so I always liked that card just because me and one cost upgrades, right? But like Symbio reopened my eyes to that Invader because I never played Invader.
And my very first version of Vader, I had that in there.
Yeah, he was just like special draw a card. Because that's Vader basically effectively has 3 cards in his hand. That's kind of the way he works, right? And card draw.
Yeah.
Or focus, like,
and a lot of times at the end of the game, you're just drawing a card, discarding a reroll to get max damage. And then,
one cost upgrades. You know what they're good for? Becoming not one cost upgrades.
I have a hard time overriding that one because the deck doesn't have any focus, like otherwise. So it's nice
that one just has two focus, a special, and money.
Yeah, I think so. Which are all great.
Because it's slightly different than Crystal Ball because Crystal Ball is like a plus money or something.
Yeah, it's got 2 money sides and no. Yeah, so anyway, I really like that. I really like that upgrade in that deck. I think that's probably the MVP. Like if any changes I make to that deck, that is probably, I'll definitely keep that. As far as what I'm going to play today when we record our video is we have been kind of theory crafting since the set was released and fully spoiled is Django, who first off 14 points, 11 health. Makes money he's just.
What is there to not love about Django?
So my problem with Django was that his damage sides are not great.
My problem with Django is that he's not Boba. But
okay, sure, yes. That's so funny. Well, I got good news for you. So he's got 3 damage sides, but they're not very good, right? In today's day and age, when we want two gun and 3, right? So I paired him.
True that. I mean, so we're cheating ahead, Mike. So again, Mike and I were aware that spoilers were released actually the day we're shooting.
Right.
We're not going to talk about them because we've got 4 months, but we are going to
too early. FFG, come on.
That's what people would be like. Oh, Boba doesn't look very good, and it was like he has 3 direct non-pay sides,
but Bala.
No, that's the thing. Yeah. They're just like, oh, he only has a 1, a 2, and a 2.
That guy's so busted, dude.
He's so good.
Okay. Anyway, so in order to make up for the damage sides, I decided to pair him with Snoke. He's very.
No, I mean you and I've been theory.
Yeah.
That's what Mike's saying.
Yes.
We've been theory crafting the Django Snoke profitable for. Yeah.
You basically have the option of getting. I think we talked about it before. You play an upgrade. You get to 4 money. Like before your opponent, you couldn't even do anything, and it opens up things like Pulse Cannon, Force Lightning, Force Wave round 1, depending on what you're playing.
Pulse Cannon.
Yeah, Pulse Cannon's my favorite legendary.
And it goes on set. Who? It goes on Snoke.
Yeah. You and a lot of times like if you drop it on Snoke, they start piling damage on. Meanwhile, you're just playing equipment, weapon, and then at the end of the game, you're playing Bacta for 5. Because you have tons, you don't care because you have tons of money at that point. So I feel like it could be good.
Don't ever go for Snoke first, I think, in this deck, but I don't know.
We'll find out.
Going after him first and getting back to it feels pretty bad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, it's just Snoke is going to do a ton of damage to you if you don't go after him. Because you're going to put the big upgrade on him. Yep. So we'll find out. But that's what are you crafting today?
So I've updated Phasma Troopers because that's apparently my deck.
Right.
I have a Django Snoke of my own. It's not running Pulse Cannon. I run Vibro Cutlass instead for the redeploy.
Sure.
And some other spicy tricks. And then I have a Gideon Hask IG-88 deck.
Oh!
I do not play bounties in that deck because I don't like the fact that it makes me drop so many cards from my hand.
Boy, Hask with IG-88, that talk about... Oh, no, because he's not a trooper. So how do you...
He is a trooper. Oh,
IG-88's not a trooper, so because that's
I'm not military camp.
Oh, okay.
I'm on Jabba's palace.
No, I'm saying Hask's power action is to roll a
so he rolls himself in.
Okay,
I mean it's not uber efficient, but the deck it's like an old school punch you in the face Destiny aggro deck. It plays 2 cost upgrades that redeploy because you can also play that 2 cost like the 2 cost droid gun that came in the Grievous starter.
Yes.
The E5 carbine, right?
Yeah, that thing's sick.
Is a gross
4 damage sides.
Gross upgrade, but nobody ever played it because they're like, oh, well, it's only redeploy if it's on a droid.
Yeah,
IG-88's
droid, right?
So it's just got 2 cost guns, a bunch of 0 cost removal, and there's not really much more to it. Like I know that everyone's very excited about doing the AOE with IG88, but like it really takes into your second, like just with the card draw,
it slows you down too. Right, it slows you down. It takes away from your rerolls.
So and then I don't have the what's the new Planetary Uprising card name?
I know what you're talking about.
Right. So
it does the damage in the
like
upkeep.
Hostile territory.
Hostile territory,
right? So I'm not playing one of those. I was thinking about playing one of those. The problem with that card is it's unique, but I still think you need to play 2 of them because your whole point is to like get it out and do it. So it takes up a lot of room. So that's why I'm not playing it.
So can we talk about that card? It's got an interesting... So Planetary was when you claim, it does 2 damage.
It does 2, yeah. So Planetary actually came out before... It came out in Spirit Rebellion, and it came out before indirect damage was a thing. So it basically did indirect damage, but it didn't call it that, right? So your opponent deals 2 damage to themselves, or you deal 2 damage to your opponent, distribute it as they wish, right? So it's indirect. But you could have 2 of them out. And the way it worked was when you claimed, you dealt the damage to them. So you could basically, if you were to get 2 of them out, you could do 8 damage because you could claim and then first action next round claim. So if you got your opponent within 8 damage, game over.
Hostile territory is like a worse version.
Right. So, it's what Planetary Uprising probably should have been, right? True. So hostile territory, the way it works is after, or in upkeep, which is at the end of the round, you deal 2 damage to the person who does not control the battlefield, right? So it's effectively the same as Planetary in that you're dealing damage because
but you can't do the double claim. Correct. You could, but then your opponent would get to finish your turn.
Gets a turn, right? So that's the point. Is the opponent gets to finish the turn as you going to be like, I rolled in with my ambush, take 2 damage, claim for 4. Right, which always felt really bad. Yeah, this one I really like. Like I think it's real, and I don't like it as well as Planetary from the playing it standpoint. But I think it's a much better balance.
As a POMOS player, like
exactly
right, that I can totally appreciate where you're coming from.
Yeah, so I think it's a really well designed card from the. I just think it's well designed. So
I think so too.
But it's not quite good enough to find the slot, I guess is the point. But I'm still evaluating playing it.
That's the bummer with a 30 card deck.
Yeah.
Is
I do know your Destiny Danish Overlords. They came out with the Gideon Hask ridin combo with advanced training deck. They have an article on that. Go check it out. It looks great. You can probably build that in your sleep. It's not super complicated, but it runs 2 of those.
And I think a deck like that would absolutely ruin a droid player's day and morning because it just does. It rolls out.
Well, remember in that case though that the indirect is actually indirect, but.
Well, I don't care. Yeah. It has so many guns. Like, there's just tons of good guns.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of guns.
And some of the action sheety stuff that the droids can do, Iden keeps that from happening. If you
that's
first.
True.
Instigate has an ambush action.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop the...
Seize the day stops that?
Yeah, but it doesn't stop the droid triggers.
Right. But it allows you to... It allows them to roll in, and then you could do something about it. One of them. I mean, which is the real problem.
Yeah, so it stops the multiple actions, just not the triggers. But so you have to get your guys in the pool one by one. That's an interesting one.
That's a great deck idea though. The advanced training I think make that very solid.
I mean, they had actually discussed in that article taking ground just to get your battlefield for military camp to speed you up, but I think
in a droid world you can't play military camp.
I think advanced training is a better call. So anyway, all right, I think we pretty much put this one to bed. I'm actually not sure how far we are, but it feels like longer than normal. Right. So, what do you got coming up this week?
I think it's somebody's birthday this week, if I remember right.
Oh, it was yesterday.
Well, I know it's your birthday, but you're actually drinking party.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So we're doing that, and then regular. I hope to make it unless I go to the beach Friday night. And
go to the beach.
Yeah,
it's summertime.
I know. It's just like so far.
Although we're actually getting fortunate here locally because rain during the summer never sounds like a good thing, but it's been a rough year rough couple of years for forest fires. So we'll take the rain, man.
Yeah, and it's funny. July is so dry, not hot. It's dry here, and every year I've been here, this year July's felt like June.
Oh, it's actually kind of gross lately because it's so humid. Right?
Yeah, we don't get
from
humidity.
A guy who I was in New Orleans.
Humidity.
I know humidity. Speaking of New Orleans.
Yeah.
You guys will be okay. Keep it together.
Dang, dude. I haven't even ever seen that much rain before. That's insane.
I mean, at least they could have had it worse, but keep it together, guys. We're rooting for you.
Keep that NOLA meta together.
Yeah. Just make sure Superior Grill's still there next time we go.
So what do you got going on this week?
Yeah, pretty much. I actually, I got to be honest, I'm pretty burnt out between vacation, coming back, getting everything together, and then trying to prep for last weekend's tourney. Like, I'm in full recovery mode right now, so I'm looking forward to our casual games tonight. I'll be there at the tournament on Saturday.
We should roll some dice. I think that'd make you feel better.
I hadn't had... Like, I was putting decks... I came home at lunch today to put decks together for this because I just haven't had time, right?
Oh,
so,
all right.
But that's life, right? That's how it goes. So
what happens when you have to have a job, man. We gotta...
Yeah.
Well, unemployed.
Like and subscribe. Maybe one day I won't have to have a job. That's only about 2 million subscribers.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so I think that's pretty much it. Again, thank you guys for watching us, and shout out again to our Canada boys. We love you.
Yeah. Thanks for being America's hat. We appreciate it.
So it was interesting because my vacation actually I went to Vancouver, and all the New Yorkers, if they're watching, New Yorkers, if you're watching this, right, you guys probably hate on me for this, but like Vancouver is like New York. Like it shocked me. It's just like high rises and stuff everywhere. So I don't feel like I got the real Canada experience. So maybe I need to go visit those boys up in Saskatoon.
Yeah, Saskatoon, keeping the Saskatchewan meta together too.
Yeah, I didn't see a single Mountie, which I guess is good because it means I didn't get pulled over.
Right. So yeah, I love it up there. I think British Columbia is very well. Obviously, the climate's very much like here, so they don't have to deal quite as much cold weather. But I think across Canada in general, the just the friendliness and like welcoming people are.
Well, and that is the one thing that surprised me, especially because like you always hear the Canada people are super friendly, and then of course like the guys from like our Canada guys, like that's beyond friendly, right? That's going above and beyond. But I didn't get the friendly vibe from Vancouver. But again, like it's a big city, and like if you go to New York, like you're lucky if you don't get punched in the face. So it's just big city style. So anyway, I had a good time.
Yeah, I'm good.
But yeah, anyway, so looking forward to being around the city for a couple weeks and relaxing. So, you have anything else?
Go Commando.
Go Commando.